G'day guys, welcome back for our last series of the day. It's going to be a best of 5 with a 1-map advantage for Seither versus iaguz. TvT to round things out between our two qualified players, WCS Jönköping. Pig, how you feeling about this TvT coming up, being the highest level Terran here at this casting desk? And also highest level Zerg and also highest level Protoss.
Whoa, I feel so special right now. Thanks for the accolades there, Maynard.
It's all true.
It is, I guess. I'm very excited though, seriously. Like the previous set was amazing. These guys already played. And Seither came out on top, man. They were action-packed. They were everything you could hope for in a TvT series. Back and forth action. I was hoping for a crazy map in map 3 in the first series. It ended up being Defender's Landing, and it was like, okay, we're going to get to see a very action-packed game. And Seither just seemed a little bit more comfortable there. So I imagine the vetoes are going to be a bit different this time around. I still think we'll see probably some Odyssey, probably some Ascension to Aya, but maybe a Proxima Station or an Abyssal sneaking its way in there as well.
Well, let's have a look at the brackets here to see the journey that these players have had to slog through. And it has been a bit of a slog. 2 days of good StarCraft. Great StarCraft, even.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that Probe's run has ended. Unfortunately, he got knocked down to the losers bracket by Seither in the semifinals. And then Seither beating iaguz in the winners bracket final, giving him that spot and that one-map advantage in the next series coming up as well. In a very, very exciting and nail-biting TvT series. Man, Defender's Landing is so rough for TvT. It's like, how do you... like, when you're up against the race that has siege tanks and turrets, and you're like, where do I engage? How do I do damage here?
Every time you move across that map, you're like, I hope he's not about to run into my base as I leave my base, and you know, attacks can hit you so fast. So it's going to be really exciting, of course, coming down to another TvT, and this is really cool. I personally am so happy to see Seither here. He's gone through, he's already won the upper finals, he's starting a map up, and we've been talking about this for a while. You know, iaguz here having to, of course, defeat Probe in the lower bracket, Probe having to take down Mighty Kiwi and NXZ before that. I mean, these guys have all made a really good account of themselves. A little bit of a heartbreak there for Probe, of course. iaguz, being the funny guy as he is, immediately hopped on Twitter and said, you know what? Probe's the better StarCraft player than I am. But hey, I managed to sneak that one out, and I was like, oh, I think that's underselling how well iaguz played as well.
iaguz played very, very well. He's not a man to mince words. Like, you know, I've touched on it before, but he's a very blunt guy. And he'll give himself praise when he feels like he deserves it, and he'll do the opposite as well. It's
kind of funny because sometimes he does get a bit of a reputation as people think, oh, you know, he's not a very nice guy, is he? If they've never actually met him.
He's actually very
lovely.
Like,
no, he will just speak his mind. And sometimes we get a very, I think, a Korean culturally inspired sort of culture going in the StarCraft scene. We're all very kind to each other and proper. And iaguz will always bluntly speak his mind. And it's a blessing because he's always going to be just completely straight up honest and just say what he's thinking.
Honesty is a blessing. Yeah. Most of the time.
Usually.
Yeah. I've had we've both had time to spend with Guz. We know him pretty well.
Yep.
Got to spend some time with Probe as well. So I did in Austin, and I'm a little bit sad that he won't be there in Jönköping. But you got to give the guy praise for putting on an incredible show, winning a lot of money this weekend, and no doubt we'll be seeing him in further qualifiers. Even though it sounds like via his Twitter feed sometimes that he may not live through the weekend, he actually will, and he'll be back for the WCS Challenger next season. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. I mean, after a loss like that, you're always going to feel a bit of an emotional pain.
Yeah, I mean, you're one map away. Like, it's so close, and he was in a very good spot in that series more than once. Well, I mean, if you believe what iaguz has to say, he feels like he got very, very lucky there. But there was no luck involved between him and Seither. That was just good StarCraft. And they went neck and neck for quite a while. They're very, very closely matched, actually. I thought, Seither was a lot better than iaguz at TvT, but they actually look like they've closed that gap, which makes me very excited for this series. In the bottom right corner from OSC Root, this is iaguz!
Got to make it count here because this guy has already defeated him in a best of 3. He's starting one map up. He has looked flawless this tournament so far. It is Seither.
This guy is a bit of an enigma. Not much of the world knows about him. Not even us as fellow Australians know a whole lot about him. He just hasn't had that big overseas appearance just yet.
There may have been a rumor when Seither was first coming up that he was a Korean player, pro player who was smurfing.
Yeah.
Because none of us had ever met him at first, and he was so good, and we're like, there's no way this is some Australian kid who just no one's heard of, and he's just destroying everybody.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he didn't just pop up. I learned over time that he actually had been around for a long time. He just hadn't actually broken that high level, like, you know, there's a difference between GM and high GM, and he broke that. He broke that barrier and made a name for himself. Because I remember seeing this tournament bracket and going, oh, iaguz is facing this no-name Seither in the grand final. No doubt this will be an iaguz victory. No worries. Like, I was pretty confident. And then I checked the bracket later, and it was like, no Seither one. And then everyone was like, hang on, who is this person? And how did they just beat iaguz? And then, you know, we did the research. We had brought up like the ST replay stats, like you look at hotkey patterns and you're trying to analyze it with other Korean players. Like, was this a sneaky, cheeky Korean trying to sneak into our tournament? But no, it's just some Australian kid from Melbourne.
Yeah,
it's just a Melbourneite doing the damage. It's kind of like the story of Pezza Perry back in the day, like a pro that showed up from out of nowhere, being an NAGM, and just all of a sudden showed up in an ACL and started crushing people.
And, you know, Seither has been to land since then. I got to meet him in person down in Melbourne last year, and he's a really good player, very calm when he's playing. And here in this game, I'm very excited to see what he can show. Of course, guys, both players have already qualified through to WCS Jönköping, but there is a lot of money on the line here between first and second place. So both players want this very badly. And once again, we are going to be seeing iaguz opening up with a much faster expansion build, playing very defensively. Seither opening up with a fast double gas. Going to be going multiple Reapers, a Hellion, and a nice early starport.
Yeah, so usually with a double Reaper in this early starport, you're going to see, you know, possibly a Cyclone or just straight up into Raven. It's a pretty strong opening there. It could, you know, 1 times out of 10, it can be a Banshee as well. A little bit of a Reaper tussle here in the middle.
That was really funny, actually, because iaguz clearly got the first shot off, but Seither just looked more confident, and because he was kind of microing towards iaguz actually, he kind of choked a little bit and ran away. Oh, if he just stood his ground, he would have won the fight initially, but he let Seither get an extra shot in the end. So, well played by Seither, just being nice and confident. iaguz playing very careful, as you have to with this build. If you lose that Reaper, you're in big trouble. That's
right. Raven follow-up here for Seither after that Hellion. He's getting a second Hellion as well back home. Marine's coming down to help out here, but the Hellion and the double Reaper is very, very strong against this style. But now the Cyclone is out, and that's the end of this party.
Good micro by Seither. Keeps both Reapers alive. Gets the Reaper of iaguz. Very nice play from him, and already a Raven on the way behind this, just going to be going straight into that Raven harass. He's gone for 2 Hellions, so he's got this nice mobility, and you might think, well, the Cyclones of iaguz can defeat the Hellions and Reapers. They can, but it's awkward for iaguz to move out, because if the Hellions and Reapers just dodge his Cyclones, run in and start murdering SCVs, then iaguz is going to be in a real spot of bother. So he's got to play this just very calmly and defensively for the next minute.
And I feel like when you lose, like with iaguz losing that Reaper, that's it. Like, you can't actually get scouting information from Seither at all. Like, he has to just sit back. Well, I mean, he was already playing defensively anyway, but you don't have any way to do damage on the other side of the map until, you know, the medevacs come out. Looks like he may actually load up the medevac here and go for a quick drop. He's leaving his natural a little bit open here, but he's feeling pretty safe.
2 Cyclones, 6 Marines, and a medevac, a very formidable force. And, of course, Seither does have a Raven, I believe, heading across the map at the moment. I don't know, where is that Raven? No, it's just sitting at the home. And he does have 1 Cyclone out, 2nd Cyclone on the way. He spotted this. He had fantastic map control. He's pulling home both Hellions, both Reapers. And Seither just going to focus on the defense for now.
Yeah, actually losing that Hellion there, but I don't feel like iaguz is going to do a ton of damage here with this push, especially with that Raven here. It's going to make things a little bit tough. Second Raven actually just popped out as well.
Yeah, of course, the dream here for iaguz is to bait out a few auto turrets and then just leave without really sacrificing any units. Already just the threat of this is keeping these Ravens back, and he's even having a tickle, giving a cheeky tickle to the Ravens there.
And a cheeky tickle. Not baiting out any auto turrets there from Seither, so, you know, the harassment potential is still real, so iaguz will probably want to get a Viking out or something like that to try and deal with this. He's making his own Raven right now with the starport.
So I think Seither's going to be banking up for a push a bit later. This is a very conservative opening from him, in that you see he's down in workers because he expanded so much later. He's got his tanks on the way now, though. He's got Vikings building. And those 2 Ravens, because they haven't dropped any auto turrets, you mentioned that, Maynard, none were baited out. They're getting very high on energy. They're going to be able to drop so many auto turrets. And if you can imagine, you get 2 full energy Ravens, you actually can drop 8 auto turrets. That's an army. That's literally an army for the short duration it lands.
Viking catching this medevac here. iaguz deciding not to go with that double Cyclone drop. These Cyclones could bully this Viking, but Seither's there ready to catch them on the low ground. Nice moves from Seither, by the way. He's been really in control of this game.
1 siege tank out. He's going to go do a nice sort of air kind of push, very auto turret focused. And iaguz has a great marine count. He's got his own first siege tank out. It's very important for him to not be completely surprised. If his tank isn't sieged, if those auto turrets all just drop on top of his tanks and marines, iaguz may end up in a lot of trouble. So Seither looking to put on the hurt. He wants to equalize for the fact that his command center was so much later this game.
Absolutely. Third is done now for iaguz. It's still in the main, being turned into an orbital. He's locked things down in the natural sieging. He's already sieged up. Auto turret starting this fight here for Seither. The Cyclone's going down.
Very nice engagement here. iaguz on the defense with a fantastic concave. Absolutely deflects everything. Both Ravens fall. The Marines coming in from iaguz. They clean up the siege tank.
Wow.
And iaguz now is in a perfect position. He has not taken any significant damage. His third orbital command center is finished. He's got all of his production on the way. His 1-1 upgrades are ahead of the only single upgrade of Seither. Seither is simply very far behind in just about every regard.
Yeah, solid defense there from iaguz. The auto turrets and the Ravens not actually making a huge difference there for Seither, all things considered. And you know, we were touching on that's a lot of auto turret energy for those Ravens, and it just surprised me that it didn't actually get any siege tanks or anything like that. I think he got a Cyclone and maybe a couple of Marines, but that was obviously, you know, losing Marines is not a big deal for iaguz. They're the most easily replaced unit in the Terran army.
Yeah, exactly. The gas, of course, lost there a lot higher for Seither, even though he did lose a bit less minerals. Definitely the gas unit's more important, especially things like the Ravens that do gain value over time. And yeah, I mean, it goes back to this early game. I can't help but wish Seither did sneak that first Raven across the map, start killing some SCVs with some auto turret harass. Because, I mean, he went for the much faster tech, but he didn't really get any use out of it. He killed one Reaper early on, which was nice, but it doesn't really give you any lasting advantage. So iaguz with his counter pressure has just done very well to control the pace of the game. Now he's up. And with that 1-1, that stim finishing, his armory timing out nicely, he's just looking to blaze ahead in the upgrades.
Both players very smartly having Vikings patrolling at the edges of their bases and very, very popular drop positions. Seither already deflecting the Raven from doing any harassment damage to him with that Viking. And iaguz has a couple Vikings patrolling on the south here just in case Seither tries to do the same thing or a drop or something like that. Doom drops, of course, still a very real and present danger in TvT.
Absolutely.
Seither taking that high ground there. He does have map control and map vision for now. iaguz's Raven still alive, though, looking for an opening.
It's interesting, with the third iaguz is taken, when he goes to take a fourth, it becomes very hard to defend that fourth, because Seither will always be able to rotate between threatening the third and the fourth base. So I actually prefer Seither's fourth base in TvT here on Ascension to Aya, but that it isn't really a weakness until later in the game. I guess for now, Seither looking for an angle, but I don't think he should press the issue. I like the posture. This is great. You know, be annoying, be threatening, but really, I don't think you can commit too much more here.
Couple Cyclones from Seither with the medevac being able to bust out if they need to. Denying some mining here, actually reinforcing this with a couple boosted medevacs.
These Cyclones actually doing a really nice bit of damage. They got a sensor tower, a gas, a depot's going down. The threat here for Seither is if this army gets isolated on its own, then that's going to be a real pain. And this Raven of iaguz is actually denying mining without even dropping auto turrets. It's doing a really good job over there. And there we go. Finally does drop some auto turrets, but iaguz is on point. Starts to shut that down. Another auto turret goes down at the third of Seither. And yeah, Seither does lose a few workers, but he's somehow getting damage done.
Ooh, Seither coming in here, stepping in, trying to get some SCVs of iaguz. Boosting into the main. There is a tank here and a Viking to help out, but will it be too many Marines? It looks like he is going to kill this tank. iaguz coming in to reinforce, and it looks like iaguz should be fine here. He's not going to take too much more damage than that. Ooh. Oh, getting the medevacs. Very, very nice pick off.
Very nice, and at this point, Seither's army over here on the right is starting to look very small, kind of a little bit pathetic. Nice little drop here, opportunistically going to drop on top of these siege tanks. If he can get 2 siege tanks, that's great, but unfortunately... Oh, okay, we'll get one. But this army is too small. What if iaguz crushes this? Suddenly, Seither's going to be looking in a very dangerous position.
And the multitask of iaguz being pretty impeccable here, using the Ravens to harass while macroing and defending back at home.
iaguz's supply is climbing. His +2 weapons is getting close to finished. I'm not sure if he got +2 armor, but Seither, he's still got this half contain, this soft contain on the right-hand side. He's coming through the middle with another army, but he has to be very careful. There's more Marines here for iaguz with better upgrades, more tanks and medevacs supporting them. Seither's got to be so careful.
Yeah, one bad engagement here will spell the end for Seither. iaguz can afford to take a little bit of a loss here. He does have a bit more of a bank and a lot more gas. He's been mining that third for a little bit longer as well. He's getting extra factory production to try and spend that gas.
Oh, great scan!
Yeah, lovely scan here. So iaguz is just going to get out of scan range and then just come back home.
The great thing here from, iaguz is, okay, he does just pull that home into scan range, but Seither's kind of forced to respond. He's evacuating his contain on the right. He's retreating and rotating back to his side of the map. He's got his second factory producing a lot of siege tanks, but iaguz has been building his Marines up a little bit faster. He's got that +2 armor upgrade on the way, while Seither is yet to start. His +3 attack also starting here for both players at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. It's like iaguz trying to take the towers back. Does see the army of Seither through the middle here. Is a nice siege tank count here for Seither.
This is where this map gets really interesting. Seither controls the center, which definitely chokes up the ability for iaguz to move around. iaguz looking to, oh my gosh, what is he thinking? What is he doing right now? This is a very dangerous maneuver.
Yeah.
Almost got caught out there. Thinks of going towards the center and then does end up finally backing off. iaguz finding himself in a bit of an awkward position. He knows he's up in units, but he can't quite find the angle, because how do you push through this center?
Look at that siege tank count for Seither. It's insane. iaguz with a very healthy marine advantage, though. Look at that, 79 versus the 53 of Seither, but Seither with double the tanks, 12 versus 6.
And with this positioning that Seither's used all game, iaguz isn't able to track this movement. If he could jump on top of this when it's unsieged, he would just crush it. But he has no idea where Seither is right now. Seither's going to start edging his way forward into the middle. I think he might try and just jump on top of that base and get an aggressive siege.
Nice little move here. Just a couple SCVs for one marine, not too bad. And he sees that iaguz is starting to get the fourth as he is long-distance mining. Single marine of iaguz coming forward. He scans, he sees this incredibly powerful army here of Seither. Seither getting +1 attack for his tanks a little bit earlier than iaguz as well. So that tank advantage is going to become exponentially more of an advantage as time goes forward. This medevac deciding possibly not going to drop that way. There's actually a base here he can drop on and get some SCVs.
And those SCVs going to try and fight, but those Marines have some pretty decent upgrades. The Marines will have to come back for Seither and try and defend at the same time. He's still got his contain on the forward side of the map, but iaguz with a big rotation around the top right. Single tank, a whole lot of Marines looking for an angle. iaguz needs to find his way out onto this map. He can't let Seither catch up, but it's already almost happened.
Doom drop. He's going for the Doom drop here, Pig.
Whoa, that's a huge lot of Marines.
There's no sensor tower, no turrets in the main.
Oh no, that is so many units, and there's even a siege tank in there as well. These Marines are going to get rid of this siege tank really quickly. Seither, he jumps forward on the fourth base in response, does take that planetary fortress down very fast, but this, all the production in the main base is forfeit. He's going to lose his starport, a lot of his barracks, and one of his factories. Is he going to be able to counterpush? Oh no, Seither, all of his Marines trapped up front, clumping up, eating massive siege tank shots.
Oh man, a bad engagement to start things off here with Seither. He still has all of his tanks alive, but the Marine count is decimated, and there's no more production to be able to reinforce this for Seither. He is all in with what he has here.
iaguz so patiently defending for so long. And look at this, he's still defending on the back while saying no upgrades for you. +3 armor is denied. All of the supply depots going down. Seither is so supply blocked right now. And if he wants to get back in this game, he's suddenly forced to slow things way down. He has to rebuild so much infrastructure.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the army supply advantage to be able to just overwhelm iaguz right now. He's making more barracks, but he also needs to make like 10 supply depots to try and deal with this huge supply block that iaguz has caused him. This is a really devastating situation for Seither. Meanwhile, iaguz is sitting pretty. He can do whatever he wants.
Yep, Seither's starting to bank a lot of money here. He's building 2 depots. Needs to times that by about 10.
Yeah.
Needs to get so many going before he can work his way back. He's still got a good army supply, does Seither, at 160 overall supply, 106 army supply. But iaguz now has so much more freedom. He really needs to secure a 4th base and start moving out onto that map, and that will be where iaguz secures a game-ending advantage. If he can get a really big economy and just maybe even transition into air units, get some Liberator Viking advantage, that will be the definite checkmate.
Yeah, getting the air advantage and just crushing that, you know, when you have the air advantage, you can see a little bit
drop down
there.
here on the south side of the map.
Man.
Oh, the missile turrets actually snap about 2 or 3 siege tanks before they get sieged. There's not many Marines left standing. Every single medevac goes down, and while it was a pretty nice drop, I don't know if it's going to be able to do nearly as much damage as iaguz's one did.
I think that was the last Hail Mary there from Seither, because iaguz just has so many more units, he can just overwhelm this. In fact, he's going to drop directly on top of it, land the Vikings, and clean this one up, and that is going to be GG. iaguz is going to get game number 1 here against Seither. He has just done so much damage to him. Seither is at the ropes. He has very, very little production. In fact, he's still supply capped this entire time. He's been making supply depots. I mean, he's lost a bunch of units. Is the only way he can replenish his forces, because he's actually just lost his army. Like, that's the situation that we're looking at right here.
The aggressive young gun here, Seither, you know, trying to find advantages. And after how the early stages went, I was like, wow, he's worked his way back into this brilliantly. But iaguz is so patient. He's only now going out to take his 4th base, like at 16 minutes. But he just said, you know what? As long as I'm efficient, as long as I don't take any bad engagements, which he's never let happen once this entire game, he knew he was going to get ahead, and he suddenly found that opening, got that Doom drop in. He knew Seither was spreading himself thin, trying to hold the middle of the map and a forward aggressive position. And iaguz just found that way around, and now he's way up. Still maxed out with a massive army of Marine Siege Tank. Seither's army just doesn't really have the whole package of support. Yeah, he's got about 30 Marines, but that's not really enough right now. He's so reliant on his Siege Tanks, and they're just not mobile.
Yeah, and currently unsieged, a lot of them are moving them forward as well. iaguz is maxed, and a lot of his army is here just dropping and just killing what's left of Seither's economy and production. There goes their supply depots.
iaguz slow pushing the left, but he just drops the back of the natural. He's got another army that just moved through the center of the map, ready to pounce if he sees an opening. iaguz just finding the openings where he can, using the mobility of these Marines. And oh, Seither actually goes for a fantastic flank for this army on the right. Does shut down so many siege tanks. Seither with a great maneuver there, but he's losing even more buildings.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too little too late, unfortunately. As cool as that engagement was for Seither, there's just an incredibly huge advantage here for iaguz. Seither coming up here with these tanks. Does manage to hold it out.
Oh, those tanks on the right-hand side from Seither actually got some big hits off. Bit of a surprise siege tank flank, not something you see every day, but iaguz does pull home. He says, yeah, all right, you killed a lot of my units. I have just killed like 3 of your bases. Come on, man. You've got 2 command centers. I'm up on a couple of healthy bases mining, but iaguz still expanding kind of slowly, and I mean, the supply count is showing us that somehow Seither is hanging on. Look at his bank. If he can spend that money, he does have good upgrades. It's just a matter of getting up more barracks, more factories,
he lost
getting
so
another
much
base.
Production. Like, he lost his main, and the rest of his production was in the natural. He's got 2 starports here. He's got powering through medevacs. Just you know, single factory and 2 barracks with reactors making units for him right now.
It's just getting down and dirty.
It is getting very scrappy.
Seither, you know, he's climbing back up in supply. He's gaining a nice forward position on this base. Don't really think he can commit there, so I think a good choice to pull back. And here we go. iaguz finally going for that Viking swap. He's building 3 Vikings at a time. He's got a Liberator out, so really looking for that air superiority. And this is going to allow him to win frontal pushes. He can just siege up Liberator zones on the tanks and just push his way forwards. If Seither doesn't try to contest that, he's going to have to outposition with flanking, with counterattacks, and with big sudden engagements. But as soon as things slow down in any protracted, long, slow push battle, iaguz is always going to be the victor there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once you win the air, the Liberators force the siege tanks to move back, giving him more space to engage here. Big stim here from Seither. He does have the high ground.
Massive stim forward. Actually gets 3 siege tanks there. Seither says the high ground is mine. And this entire game, he has been obsessed with this high ground. And really, I think it's just putting a lot of pressure on iaguz because he can't freely move through the center of the map.
You know what? I called this all over because I didn't think iaguz would stop losing engagements, but he actually has been stopped winning engagements.
Yeah.
There's been nothing but Seither winning efficient fight after efficient fight here. And all of a sudden, I got a big question mark over my head of whether or not iaguz has won this one.
iaguz does take the watchtower. He sees this army's position right now. Seither's got to be a bit careful. It's easy to get carried away. You get a few victories under your belt. It's easy to accidentally stim forward to your death. But Seither right now taking a few tanks from iaguz. iaguz holding those watchtowers is probably the best thing he's done right now. He's just got so much vision over this, and I'm not sure if Seither realizes it.
Yeah, these Liberators forcing Seither back here.
Ooh, nice stim forward from iaguz.
There from the high ground, actually. Picking up a tank there. Yeah, the army, the economical advantage for iaguz kicking in at the moment. His production is pretty good. He's definitely won the air battle here. He's got so many more Vikings, or I don't even think there are any air units here for Seither. Oh, there's one Viking there.
Seither going for a ballsy dive through the middle. He wants to find a good setup. He's got a great Marine arc here, but there's a lot of siege tanks for iaguz. Seither does have to back off and loses another siege tank. iaguz's defense is getting out of control right now. Another Liberator zone sets up. Goodbye, siege tank.
That's right. Lifting him up, and the Viking actually picking off a loaded medevac there. And iaguz is starting to shred the army here of Seither. Seither going for a big stim forward. iaguz has got to meet him here with a superior tank count and superiorly upgraded Marines chasing him back, shaving off more of his army supply.
Seither constantly trying to find advantage in the movement, but because his economy is so small, you're the one who said it, Maynard, he's not able to replenish these units anymore. iaguz is saying, let's just keep chipping away, defending my bases. Oh, and by the way, I took a 4th base pretty late. guess what? Now I'm on 6, 7 bases.
Yeah,
I have the entire map. I am mining so much money. And Seither's, yeah, he's got a new base up down here, but I mean, he's still spending money rebuilding things like reactors and factories and supply depots.
He's been on life support for about 10 minutes, I feel like. He's alive technically, but he really doesn't seem to have complete control of this game anymore.
Yeah, and
some unsieged tanks on the high ground.
His army's been split up in 2 here. Good pick up and boost out of there. Seither's army kind of pathed around 2 different angles, and iaguz is going to take control of this high ground. I think it's his turn to start pushing forward. Seither trying to defend this area of the map. He's going to go for a huge stim in with that concave of Marines. Pulls back at the perfect time. Very good little engagement there from Seither.
He has to unsiege because the Liberators are ruling the sky, and iaguz has so many Vikings that Seither just can. The only way he can deal with them is with Marines.
And there's just so many Marines and tanks here for iaguz. I think the Marine count advantage does go to Seither right now. But with all of that support, those siege tanks, those Liberators, those Vikings, iaguz is pushing Seither back. What patient play from the Guzzler, and he is just forcing Seither out of this game.
Yeah, that's
those Marines going down, massive tank hits, the Vikings whittling down the medevacs. iaguz showing us the patience of a veteran.
Yeah, that's right. He's playing this one like a real master. And, you know, we were saying that I always thought that Seither's TvT was better than iaguz's, but my God. He has been putting in the hard work for sure.
Oh, yeah.
GG. There it is. Took us 10 minutes, but we got there. A lot of really scary moments there for iaguz with Seither taking incredible engagement after incredible engagement. You don't expect to see that thing at this level. But Seither's just really... this has got me so excited for the series because it's become a best-of-3 now. Seither was with a map advantage in a best-of-5.
Yeah.
But now with iaguz winning, now we play the best-of-3 from here on out.
Exactly. Only 2 games to win. And, I mean, I feel stressed out after watching that game. Like,
whoa.
The way the armies move around that whole central area, it's so... it's on a knife's edge, you know? It's just balanced there. And if one player oversteps a little bit, the other one takes advantage of it. And I love that... just the difference of styles. You know, Seither, he's always looking for an angle. He's rotating. He's finding the openings where he can. And iaguz is just like, I have a more solid economy. I'm just going to defend, defend, defend. And that one surgical doom drop into the main base was obviously the killing move. That was the one decisive moment where iaguz said, all right, you're doing too much on this map. No.
If you guys saw the third Batman movie, you know the one I'm talking about. One with our favorite character in the history of cinema. Of course, that's Bane, for all you guys wondering at home. That was kind of like the back-breaking moment for iaguz.
Oh, yes.
Snapped him over his leg.
Yep.
And then Seither was just crawling out of the pit. So the difference was, between that movie and this movie, he didn't make the jump in the end.
Yeah, he was close. He was close. He almost made the jump, but not quite.
Fell. You got to do it without the rope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was impressive from Seither. I think he showed good kind of calm collectedness. There was no big sign here in either player of I'm going to fall apart under pressure. The game got a little scrappy. iaguz took a long time to take a 4th base, but there was good reason for it. He was constantly having to block Seither's maneuvers, and in the end, I think it was kind of cool to see how that played out. And yeah, I'm excited that it worked out that way, and I really can't wait to see how Odyssey goes. I can't wait to see how the other maps go, because this is a best-of-5. We do get to see a couple more maps. I'm hoping we get to see some other new maps. Maybe we get to revisit Defender's Landing, Blood Boil, who knows?
I'd love to see some
only hope.
Defender's Landing is just, I mean, we touched on the beginning of it. I feel like when you're playing TvT, it is such a tough nut to crack to beat your opponent on that map. Like, where do you attack? How do you get in? I mean, Seither surprisingly didn't have any doom drop countermeasures. Like he had in that last game. He had a sensor tower at the bottom, but not at the top. He was making it during the doom drop, actually.
Yeah, he was very delayed on all of that, of course. It was because this guy down here was keeping the pressure up right from the get-go. Incredible defensive play in game number 1, representing OSC Root. It is iaguz.
And in the top left, this is Seither.
Feel the rage see through you. Yeah, I wonder what Seither's feeling after this game. Is he going to stick to his aggressive style? Is he going to change it up? We do see a very fast gas first for him, whilst iaguz going for the old school barracks into gas. Oh, double gas again. Okay, so this is similar to what iaguz played on Defender's Landing in their last set. It's going to be a faster Reaper out of iaguz. He's probably going to look to dodge the Reaper of Seither and then arrive at Seither's base quite early, hopefully delay the starport from building and just kind of cause some obstruction. And, you know, playing a one-base opening behind that. Meanwhile, Seither also going for the double gas, so both players going to be delaying their expansion. It's going to be a very action-packed early game here. Yeah,
a bit of a one-base style for both players. Quick 1-1-1. And, yeah, so Odyssey is one of these maps where it's got some similarities to Ascension to IO. Some similarities, like the third base, you have a choice whether you want to take it at the front or down to the south. The rocks make things a little awkward, though. It's a very small, tight choke. And, of course, the other added benefit of there being some nice little ankle wading pools in the middle of the map.
Oh, yeah. Very pretty map.
Very pretty, very beachy, very relaxing.
And, of course, as Terran in TvT, there's a lot of Ravens who we see around, but there is no ability to drop auto turrets in those pools in the center of the map. You can't place buildings there. Only creep tumors, and even then, creep tumors can't place in, like, a small section of the pools. So it's, yeah, it's a little bit interesting. If we do see skirmishes there, Ravens can kind of get surprised a little bit because they just can't drop those auto turrets.
iaguz did avoid the Reaper of Seither here, and he's going to come up into the main and have a look-see. There is a spot for the Reaper to get that jump up. There's that ledge there.
Second Reaper's about to come out. So you see iaguz has this tiny window to do damage here. He wants to delay that starport. He's going to work hard on it. Yeah, very nicely done, and gets out of there. Look at that timing. iaguz, so good.
Oh,
but takes a grenade. Does have to get away with that Reaper.
Yeah, similar openings for both players is the double Reaper into Hellion or Cyclone and then getting that Raven follow-up.
Ooh,
catch here from Seither getting the Reaper of iaguz.
The Hellion of Seither always comes out so fast off this opening. That's why this is a much more standard opening for Seither. I like iaguz's one because it is a little bit different and it kind of, I think, forces players to think a little bit more and react a little bit differently. It also gives him this nice, fast command center follow-up. Meanwhile, Seither tends to commit to more units for a little bit of a longer period, and his command center sometimes doesn't go down until about 4 minutes, which, of course, is a big delay compared to iaguz's.
Yeah, so when he gets to 400 minerals, he's going to drop that CC now. iaguz is complete, just needs to float it on down. Oh, sorry, it's on the way, so halfway complete. We'll float it down. Oh, we're going to delay that CC melee.
Didn't quite focus fire it there. It's always a little bit... Oh, his Hellions really want to get the vision on. Is he going to get the vision? He's going to get the vision from the low ground.
Yeah, he killed the
very nicely done.
SCV there. Nice move from Seither.
Just being nice and annoying. Both players playing Ravens once again. You know, it's such a solid unit. It keeps you safe against Banshees. It's multi-purpose. It shoots auto turrets. Auto turrets shoot up, they shoot down, they shoot everything.
And they hit hard.
Yeah, they hit very, very hard. So it's going to work out very well. And iaguz, third command center. Wow.
Ooh, greedy boy.
Double command center. What does this mean?
What does it mean? It means a lot of minerals, Pig.
Oh,
it means a lot of income.
Very TY-inspired play from iaguz. Seither reminds me a lot more of a Jackji or a, you know, one of these kind of like, I guess you'd call them like mid-tier Korean pro gamers who are still absolutely incredible players, but they're kind of round of 32 GSL guys where it's much more about, you know, being very aggressive, consistently finding openings, whilst iaguz wants to sit back and just absorb anything that comes his way. Great baiting of the auto turret there. iaguz auto turret not really getting a lot done. Seither being very patient with his own auto turrets. Just looking for what he can find. Auto turret goes down. Well done here by Seither. Going to take down the depot. He might even get the tech lab as well.
He's touching up that tech lab. Auto turret energy done for Seither. There's a second Raven now for iaguz, and a third CC still on the way. So, he can start to take this natural. Yeah, there it is. It's going to float it on down. Seither's pulling back. Happy with what he did with that damage, but he has to actually be a little bit worried here. With 2 Ravens out for iaguz, it's a lot of harassment potential.
If we could see the units tab for just a moment, I believe Seither's going up to, his second Raven's about to pop, and he's going up to 4 Cyclones, I believe. So he's kind of playing this like their last Defender's Landing game. He's building a lot of Cyclones. He's still got the Hellions and Reapers alive. He's got the Ravens alive. There's big potential for a sort of surprising push to follow this up. But because he's building so many Cyclones, so many Ravens, this is not a long-term strategy. He's delayed his extra barracks so much. iaguz has already got his 3rd orbital command center on the way. Seither hasn't even started a 3rd command center. So I'm going to be very worried for Seither if he doesn't find some more damage soon. He definitely needs to get a little bit more done with these early units that he's invested in.
Well, it is a pretty scary army. He's got his own double Raven. He's got a lot of Cyclones. Hellions as well for good measure to engage those
Oh,
Marines.
the tank's unsieging here for iaguz. If he gets caught unsieged, then Seither might be able to just jump on top with the Cyclones. Oh, no. I think iaguz, you really need to be sieged up right now. The Ravens coming in from both sides. Who will drop the auto turrets first? It looks like Seither is more on point. iaguz with a slow reaction.
Yeah, he wasn't looking at this army now, and iaguz is getting completely crushed here. This could be a very quick game. GG.
Oh, man. Oh, that's heartbreaking. I was like, Seither needs to find damage. iaguz has tanks. He's not going to find damage. The tanks are unsieged. He's going to find the damage. And, you know, that's just crazy there. So that just went his way so damn quickly.
There you go.
That was not what we expected, I don't think.
Not like this.
Not like this.
Not like this. But so that finds Seither on match point to be the champion here.
Yep.
One more map for him. 2 more if iaguz wants to be the champ. Both players have been champ before, so...
Can't afford any more losses like that one. And
no, that's a very heartbreaking loss there.
I can't blame him for being a little bit surprised because he'd only seen 1 Cyclone in the early stage, and he's like, yeah, okay, you built 1 Cyclone, you did a bit of harass, there's no reason for there to be more Cyclones. I'm going to go for a bit of a cheeky tank pressure, maybe move out, get some map control. But Seither obviously going for a very surprising build there, investing in all 3 Cyclones as well as the Ravens and the Viking. And, you know, it's also that moment where you could tell he just looked back to build supply depots, right? You're like, just started building my depot? Oh, what's that red alert on my minimap? Oh, my units are dead. Oh.
Yeah, and his Ravens were, like, leading the charge because they were just, like, move command all across the army.
And it's so important as well. If you're like a second later on your auto turrets, usually like it's decisive. But if you're like 3 seconds late, it's just over, you know?
Yeah, it's not wrong. Actually, when I play TvT, I'm so scared to move out in TvT. I never know when you're supposed to, you know what I mean?
It's scary, man. The number of times you move out, a drop hits your main base, you know?
The only time I'm happy, I'm like, yeah, I'll send a Raven. Just one.
That's what I like as well. Yeah, it's like the non-committal pressure. It's like I drop the energy units in the mineral lines. Other than that, I just defend.
That's right.
But of course, these guys playing on another level where they do need to take some of these risks. They need to move out. They need to be pressuring each other constantly. I like iaguz's little Reaper opening that game, but he seems to always be losing the Reaper to the Hellion from Seither. So I think on the next map, we're probably going to see iaguz go back to a more standard expand build. But he's got to have a little bit of paranoia in the back of his head. He's got to be saying to himself, Seither's done a double Rax Reaper, which did so much damage in their very first game in the first series today on Abyssal Reef. He's done a lot of other aggressive one-base openings. iaguz, I think he's going to be very worried about doing those expand builds, which I think are his forte. I think he's going to be afraid of Seither just all-inning him and taking the easy win.
Sorry, excuse me. Lungs are still recovering, guys. You're absolutely right. iaguz likes to go for 3 bases. He likes to go as quickly as possible into that marine tank style. He doesn't want to do cheeky things like a whole bunch of Cyclones, whereas Seither, he's happy to make it, to bring it down to a dirty little fist fight. He's happy to go bare knuckle boxing.
Oh, yeah. Yep, he seems to thrive in those situations, you know. The classic Terran play, just getting out of control with the multitasking, with the aggression all over the place. We are going to, of course, see who is going to be taking it out in the next couple of maps. This could be the last map. If Seither wins, he will be the champion.
Well, let's see if this guy can fight back. It is OSC Roots iaguz. This roof's so good. Who's this guy, Pig?
Spawning up here in the top left-hand side. He is the color of the ocean in which his SCVs are mining. It is Seither.
1 map away from not only a ticket to Jönköping, but also a ton of money.
Oh, cheeky, Kalaris.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. Same map, same build. What are you thinking, Maynard?
I think this one's going to hurt. Well, we'll see if iaguz, if he can cast his mind back to the... all the way back to when they last faced each other.
Yeah. I think he's remembered. He's gone that double gas. I mean, we were talking about it just before. He's got to be a little bit paranoid. He's a game away from losing. He doesn't want to just lose to the cheeky aggression. But Seither, he's just like, nah, same build, different proxy location. Last time I proxied it near the 3rd base of iaguz. This time I'm going to proxy it here. Actually, sorry, it was Ascension to Aya last time. It was a different map where he did this, now that I think about it. But either way, this is actually a better map for it because those Reapers can jump in the back door. The problem is going up against a double gas like this, iaguz should just build a factory, immediately start a Cyclone, and be completely fine. If he does that...
Or even a Hellion.
There's no way he takes damage.
The Hellion is like a cheaper and faster option, but the Cyclone is like the absolutely no to Reapers. It's like
it's like the Reapers are basically just like throwing little pebbles at a tank. They just don't do any damage to it at all. So that factory is down very early. Of course, no scout for iaguz just yet, I don't believe. So he's still just kind of blind for the moment. He's built a depot to spot the jumping up ledge. And it's going to be a big surprise. If he can keep his first Reaper alive, that will help him. Is that Reaper going to see? I don't think it spotted the Reapers. They were just out of range. Or the SCVs, sorry. The SCV and the Reaper.
He doesn't want to lose his first Reaper, though. It's like a little bit more extra DPS, a little bit more safety before the Cyclone comes out. There's that Cyclone on the way for iaguz. Second Reaper on the way.
And there's no wall off, so the SCV can just waltz straight in with them to help support this pressure. The Cyclone has started building, but these Reapers are going to try and get a bunch of damage done before then. SCV's being pulled off the line. This Reaper's out. A second Reaper about to pop. It's all about the micro right now. The extra Reaper pops out from behind, but great focus fire from Seither. He actually focuses it down instantly while stutter stepping flawlessly.
Oh, nice grenade connection there for iaguz, actually delaying these Reapers a little bit, but SCV damage already getting done here by Seither. He's killed 5 SCVs. He keeps delaying the starport. The Cyclone is out now. The big boy Cyclone doing damage here to Seither. Actually, that grenade moving the Cyclone forward a little bit. But, yeah, Seither's not done yet. He has to get more damage than this done if he wants to take a lead in this game.
Really, really good multitasking from Seither, trying to micro both sides at once. But with that depot spotting there and that Cyclone out, he has to be so careful. If Seither loses all these Reapers, he's very open to something like a Liberator just flying across the map very easily and doing damage. Hell, there's a medevac on the way for iaguz. We're going to see probably multiple Cyclones and a medevac coming out and doing counter pressure. And it looks like iaguz is completely stabilized. He's down 3 workers. But he has got the faster tech out.
Yeah, these Cyclones are very, very scary for Seither. He's getting his own Cyclones back at home so he can go toe-to-toe. But, yeah, I don't know if he wants to engage 5 Reapers, but he certainly cannot split forces just yet.
Yeah, the Reaper grenades are really what make them scary. Of course, being able to bounce the Cyclone around, it can't shoot while it's moving or being tossed through the air. But iaguz is just going to leave the Cyclone to defend. He's actually dropping a flank of Marines. He's coming in around from behind. Nice breakout of the contain here from iaguz. But likewise, good micro from Seither. Didn't lose a single Reaper.
Not yet. Yeah, these Reapers are getting very, very low, but they will heal up. And he's going back home. He's expanding on the high ground here. That production, that was proxied on the map, coming back home to be in a little bit more of a sensible location. But there is a medevac here and a couple Cyclones from iaguz, and he decides that he wants to try and press the issue here.
It's all going to be about Seither just hanging on and defending that Viking and Cyclone. He knows what he needs to help defend this, but they're not quite out just yet. Seither does split off a Reaper to counterattack. A great move. That could do big damage back at home, and it'll definitely distract iaguz for quite a while. But iaguz pushing the ramp is where the important action is happening. He's trying to force his way in. Good Reaper bombs to zone so far, and Seither's defense is solid.
Very solid. He's going to lose 1 Cyclone. Actually, no, iaguz loses 1 Cyclone. There we go. Both players going for blow here. The medevac goes down. The wall-off is done. And he's going to take a while before he can get back into the main. The Viking, in fact, landing. SCV's being pulled off the line to try and hold here.
Seither's actually up 6 workers at the end of all this. That Reaper did a little bit of counterattack damage. A lot of those SCVs are bruised. And this has been pretty damn fantastic play out of Seither. But Raven's out earlier for iaguz, so I guess that's his one advantage right now. It's the one thing he can be a little bit proud of.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get damage on the other side of the map, though. There is already a Viking for Seither, and he knows that this is a potential follow-up. He's got his orbital just completing now in the main. He can float that down in the natural, whereas iaguz has just got the CC still under construction here. He's just finished up. It looks like he dropped a 3rd CC straight away back at home as well.
Yeah, looks like that. For a moment, I was confused. I was like, didn't that commence and it just finish? And then I've seen it just start on the production tab, and I was like, whoa. But it looks like, iaguz is going to be going 3 CC, double Raven once again. This seems to just be his formula for Terran vs. Terran. It's very defensive, super macro-oriented. You know, Innovation and TY both love this. iaguz loves it as well. It's the, you have to make the plays happen. I've just got to defend. And I think he's going to be a lot more careful than that last game where he got surprised in the middle of the map. Yeah,
for sure. That was a pretty anticlimactic way to go there. It does happen in the game of StarCraft, you know. A win is a win. Doesn't always look clean and nice. Sometimes
Viking
it's very, very dirty. Yeah, single Viking here.
Just looks like, okay, Seither's going to go for another one of these pressures. Couple Cyclones, maybe a single Siege Tank trailing that up, I do believe. But iaguz spotting everything with this Hellion, even gets a hit off on those Marines. He is aware of what's coming, and he's going to try and position himself to prepare for that.
Absolutely right. So iaguz Oh, he wants to get this ledge here.
Yeah, this is the ledge. He wants to get a single siege tank in range of those mineral patches. Nice siege up here from Seither, but iaguz is just going to try and break it straight away. He's got double Raven. He should be able to do it.
Yeah, with double Raven, he could. If he didn't have the Ravens, he's actually in a really, really rough spot. Landed Viking here, trying to hit those SCVs. Auto turrets going down here. That siege tank also going to be in range of the auto turrets. It does get burned down.
The Viking focus fire there from Seither doing a good job. Kills 4 SCVs, forces another auto turret. Not too bad for Seither. He's up 11-12 workers, but he sacrificed a little bit of his army material. That being said, faster stim, faster tanks on the way. He's got medevacs, marines,
faster
everything. Yeah, like his third command center is technically slower, but he's going to be able to secure that so much earlier and saturate it so much earlier than iaguz.
Yeah.
Seither's playing so well, man.
Oh, absolutely. This kid's out of control. Scan here from iaguz. Sees that the natural is locked down pretty tight, but he wants to go for that ledge. The abyssal ledge here.
Oh. iaguz changes his mind there, realizes it's about to get broken straight away. Both players very paranoid about that ledge, as you should be. If you've ever played on this map as a Terran player, it is a nasty spot to pay attention to. And iaguz is going to give him a taste of his own landed Viking medicine. Of course, with that +8 to mechanical damage, they do now 3-shot SCVs. Going to get in there and start tearing them apart.
These Ravens are actually ruling the sky here for iaguz, making it very, very tough for Seither to come and deal with this.
Wow, that Viking killed 5 workers. It pulls on back. Baits in Seither's tank, takes a few shots. iaguz getting so much work out of this push. More auto turrets go down.
Oh, man.
Seither's in so much trouble. He's way up in supply, but he just doesn't have the army value. iaguz is doing so much with this.
He doesn't have the army value, and he doesn't have a trenched in position. He's dug in like a tick here. Like, how do you dig him out? The medevacs are coming forward, but they don't have anything in them. They're just dying.
Such a good position this game was, Seither, but now iaguz, he's ahead in army supply. He's starting to tie up the economy. The worker supply gap is closing here. That Viking, another 5 SCV kills. Oh man, this is getting gross. Seither's starting to fall apart a little bit under the pressure.
He scans to see that the third base for iaguz is landed here. And what does Seither do with this information? Just realizes that he's in a rough spot, I suppose. Viking, wow, that was an interesting animation. Like he's trying to morph there and died just in time. And iaguz still has the skies.
Oh, man. This is really painful for Seither. You know, he has stim, but his Marines just were taking those tank shots. He didn't quite clean up decisively enough on this push. And yet another landed Viking. Oh, man.
No orbital at the third means less mules, less scans. He's just morphing it now. He's going to go for a counter drop to the third, and I don't mind this decision from Seither. Yeah. iaguz is producing back at home, though, and he's not actually rallying units to reinforce. He's rallying units to the third.
All right. Seither said enough's enough. He's actually going to unload those Marines behind, and he's going to set up a flank. He's stimming in from both sides. He will finally be able to get rid of this push, but not before the auto turrets come down, leech out a few more of those Marines, do some more damage, and Seither says, finally. But look at how much damage he's taken in the meantime.
That was incredibly efficient for iaguz. Like, that was about as efficient as it could be, and a lot of that had to do with these 2 bad boys on the screen right now. Those 2 Ravens for iaguz.
Oh, yeah.
The MVPs, hand in hand, doing a great job in this game so far, getting him from a terrible position to a really dominant one.
iaguz now just looking rock solid on 3 bases. Tanks sieged up everywhere, Marines all over the place. He's got an armory and a second factory on the way.
God, this gas bank for Seither is like 1,100 gas.
Yeah, it's just such a pain losing so much mineral mining on that natural. He's just so behind on being able to spend it all. And auto turrets coming into the third base here, doing even more damage. Those SCVs going flying through the air.
Sometimes with these Ravens, because a lot of Terrans like to keep a tank just in the main just in case of a drop.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes the Raven can get really, really lucky and pick off a
drop an auto turret just right on top of it, hey, because it will kill a siege tank.
It does, definitely. So we have a nice army here for iaguz. He's ahead in pretty much every single way except for upgrades right now, but he's starting to pull ahead in that as well because he's starting his 2-2 a little bit earlier. And Seither trying to get a 4th base a little bit quicker.
Seither, of course, is still only 1 game away from going forwards. But right now, I mean, we saw it there on the production tab. 2-2 starting up for iaguz, while only +1 is finished for Seither. Seither seems to have completely forgotten about upgrades because he's not even starting his +1 armor. He's going for a 4th command center. There we go. Finally, the 2-1 upgrades start up for Seither. But the Raven continuing to be such a pain in the butt here. iaguz has got so much value. That, guys, is a 10-kill Raven. It is now an 11 kill, a 12 kill Raven. It has done so much work this game, not to mention all of the tanking it did in those earlier engagements with the missile, the auto turrets.
12 kill Raven, and I think there was like a 15 kill Viking as well for Iaguz at one point of the game when he was doing that damage there in the natural. And Seither's got a little force up the top right of the map. Looks like he wants to try and do a little bit of a drop in the third, or maybe even go for the main, cutting into the production of Iaguz or something like that, or even cutting into his economy. Iaguz is going for a big move out as well through the middle.
Oh, his medevac's a bit far ahead of his army. These Marines of Seither might be able to catch a couple of Marines. The medevacs do turn around. But that drop in the top right, I mean, this is the sort of move that Seither's used to bring himself back into games. He knows he's behind. He knows he's got to take a bit of a risk. So he says, okay, let's just turtle up at home with siege tanks. And if you get too far out of the map, I'm going to just stim into your third, massacre your worker line. And then when the game gets messy, that's where I might have a chance to catch back up.
Absolutely. I mean, Iaguz does have some siege tanks here at the third, but they're not sieged up. If Seither smells an opening, sending in one Marine, sees there's 2 siege tanks here. Okay.
Oh, Iaguz immediately was like, I know what that means. Sieges up the tanks, drops a scan, and is like, no way, you're not getting in here. He's got Vikings over there. Oh my gosh, Seither tried to dive in with that drop. It's going into the main base of Iaguz, but the Vikings are on top of it. The full medevac's going down. It's going to get some Marines unloaded, but I don't know how much damage it's going to get. At the same time, Iaguz pushing into the third base, gets a great siege up location, starts to snipe down some of these siege tanks, and is already working on Seither's very, very damaged worker lines.
Seither is targeting down this armory here. He's going to get cleaned up in the natural for sure. Actually, Iaguz with his own drop in the natural of Seither. 21 SCVs have gone down, Pig.
Wow.
And the CC's exchanged with these tanks as well. 3 tanks hitting that orbital command center. And he's also in range of the middle line, that planetary.
No way. This is just a beautiful move from Iaguz. Defends the drop while setting up a great push here and a drop on Seither's natural. And now he's just completely denying Seither's economy. Seither was already very far behind. His 2-1 upgrades finally finish. And he says, yay, I have some upgrades, but unfortunately I'm down 50 army supply. Iaguz here just playing so well to get back into this game. I thought the opening looked kind of promising for Seither, but Iaguz's push on that cliff was just way too good.
Yes, one of the most efficient pushes I've seen with so few units. This had a lot to do with how the map works and the terrain that we abused there. This Abyssal Reef has been such a nightmare for people playing against Terran, even other Terrans.
Oh yeah, this map is all about your positioning on the map. We see Iaguz very aware of that, not stepping too far forward. He's still at this contain on the left-hand side. He could edge those tanks forward maybe just a little to siege that mineral line.
Oh, a little bit of a tussle here. Looks like Seither shaving off a few of the Marines there of Iaguz.
And trying to, okay, elevate a few tanks onto the high ground. He's trying to be creative in how he defends himself. Iaguz starting to regroup his force over here, trying to find an angle on that mineral line. I think he should be able to do it. There's only a couple of siege tanks there.
Oh, Iaguz actually has a ton of army down here. And his army supply is incredibly in favor of Iaguz.
Oh,
128 versus 76.
Oh, the Marine stim forward from Iaguz. He's saying, get out of this game. I am just going to run over the top of you. At the same time, Seither desperately tries to counterattack. Iaguz is just going to regroup. He's going to sacrifice a few buildings there, but at the same time, he is destroying the economy of Seither. His entire mineral line is forfeit on the 4th. His 5th command center goes down. Iaguz is getting into his rally, his production line. He can lose his 3rd base because he's going to be able to crush everything of Seither's in return.
Absolutely. Seither's got to basically end the game with this drop here, and if he doesn't, that's going to be curtains for him. Vikings coming in, touching up one of those medevacs, got a siege tank in the main as well, softening the Marine count here of Seither, and Iaguz's big concave here is just completely destroyed the economy of Seither.
Seither here, desperate to find some damage, but Iaguz solid as a rock. There are no holes in this boat, and, Seither can try to poke around as much as he can. He's not going to find a big enough weakness. Iaguz here just edging forward on the front, absolutely relentless, not giving the openings that Seither needed to get back into this one, and Seither just slowly going to be edged out. As that planetary fortress goes down, I think we are going to see Seither tap out.
Absolutely. There's just a game of numbers at this point. Seither doing what he can with what he has. He has an army, but it is 35 versus 116. That's going to be it. GG. And Iaguz is going to force this one to go all the way to Game 5.
We couldn't have dreamed of a better finals here. You know, these two guys have been so evenly matched. Their first series was neck and neck. And here, once again, we have a very back-and-forth series. Seither started out on top with that 1-0 lead, but now Iaguz has brought it down to that final match, the deciding match.
Exciting times ahead, Pig.
It's a lot of money on the line, man.
And the only time, like, in the other series, Seither and Iaguz were both beating each other in really legit, sick TvTs.
Yeah.
But Seither's only won one game in this best-of-5 final, and it was a very lucky win.
Yeah, it was the you're not watching your army, and you know, you moved out right as my push is coming, right? Like, yeah, iaguz overall has really been a lot more solid. Like, there were moments in Ascension to Io where Seither looked like, wow, really impressive, but then iaguz just kind of picked him apart. You know, he doom dropped him, he pulled him around, he defended everything, and it was like, okay, wow, iaguz is really playing out of this world, and I'm happy to see it. You know, iaguz, I think a few people were saying, you know, oh, he's really good, but Pro made mincemeat out of him last season, you know, really got rid of him quite handily. But this time around, iaguz is just solid in all matchups. He's playing very, very well, and yeah.
He's really leveled up, and even though sometimes he doesn't like to admit it, he's taking this game very, very seriously right now. And he's taking this tournament extremely seriously, as it is a massive payday for anyone that comes through to be the champion at the end of the day. Was Probe in Season 1? Will it be Seither or iaguz for Season 2? Oh,
and this is
that
moment.
Way to decide.
This is the moment where every pro has like a love-hate relationship with this moment, I think, where it's like, it all comes down to one game now. And like, it's so hard to not just get so nervous, and like, you're so excited in the adrenaline, and it feels so good when you win this game, but no matter what, you are going to feel terrible if you lose this match. It is so hard to deal with the stress at this point, and that's what it comes down to now. It isn't just about the build orders, it isn't about the maps, it definitely isn't about the balance in this TvT. It is about the mindset, the mentality, and the focus of these players when everything is on the line.
Absolutely. iaguz and Seither facing off one last time here. Our last series here, the WCS ANZ Challenger. Oh man, the tension is palpable. In the bottom left here from OSC Root, this is iaguz.
Facing off against him in the top right-hand side, it is Seither. Defenders landing once again. This is where it's all going to be decided, Maynard. These guys wanted to use up their vetoes on silly little maps like Blood Boil and other things like that. Yeah, get rid of Sequencer.
Yeah.
But they wanted to play Defenders Landing. It is on these guys, and I honestly do enjoy this map. I think they had a great back and forth, action-packed early game last time. It's just iaguz tried to transition a little bit too early, and Seither caught him off guard. I love to see how these two players are going to adapt this time around.
I actually would definitely, as much as I've like complained about TvT rather on Defenders Landing, Sequencer TvT is just the worst. Oh my god, that map is giant. Like, the amount of times you just pass the other army while it gets into your natural before you get into their natural, and you're like, do I go home? Do I keep going? Like, oh.
You managed to push back their siege tank army like 3 screens, and you're still only 1/3 of the way across the map, and you're like, oh, really?
Yeah, and then you have that third base all the way in the middle of nowhere. Meanwhile, you got that other one, which isn't just a janky third. It doesn't have much minerals in it. It's only got 1 gas. Like, oh.
It's always exciting to see how the players are going to adjust, because these maps do create crazy new situations. It's only been around a few weeks, so the strategies aren't completely fleshed out just yet. And interestingly, iaguz on Defender's Landing, he's just like, yeah, no scout, let's just go for a command center. This is like a nice expand build, whereas Seither, sticking to his guns, he's going fast double gas, as you can see. He's probably going to go double Reaper Cyclone or double Reaper Hellions into Raven. And iaguz here, is he even going to build a second Reaper? No, he's going to go straight into Reactor. Wow. Super defensive, macro-focused build. He's taking a bit of a gamble here, but I think he's saying, you know what, Seither isn't going to risk it all on a proxy Reaper build. Not now, not in the last and final game.
Yeah, on Abyssal Reef, I was going to touch on it, but didn't really, you know, have a chance to. But Seither had a map in his pocket, so I actually like that he went for the proxy Reaper, because he could have just clinched it out in a quick win. Meanwhile, if he goes down, he still has a map in the back to be able to try and play a bit more legit, quote unquote.
Exactly, and it's such a good way to just hedge your bets there. But now here, he's playing a little bit more conservatively for now. The Reapers and the Hellions coming across the map. There is another Hellion on the way, so it looks like, yes, once again, Seither just going to be going for this Raven build. He seems to be his favorite at the moment. Just a very solid 2 Reaper, 2 Hellion into Ravens. These Marines and Reaper of iaguz will not be able to come down that ramp. That's going to be way too dangerous. In fact, they're even pulling way back from the wall in, because they know the Reapers can jump on up there. Cyclone! Ooh, luckily that Reaper grenade bounced it, so it wasn't firing continuously there. Yeah. Hey, look, there's a Roomba.
Oh, there is a Roomba.
Yeah, there's a little, it's just going out into the fog, but didn't realize the,
How expensive are Roombas, by the way? Like, I've been tempted to get one, but I kind of feel like the kind of thing when you get when you have too much money.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, if you've got like a pet that has like a lot of hair, you have a dog.
I definitely do. Like, I'm considering it seriously because of how much my dog sheds very much, like it's a long-haired dog. And I guess breaking down these rocks means that he doesn't have to deal with 2 attack paths into his natural. Of course, means that it's a little bit tougher for him to move out as well.
And more Cyclones building once again for Seither, while Natural Command Center is going down now for Seither. Keep an eye on that production tab, guys. iaguz, you can see he's not building a 3rd CC super early just yet. I still think he'll go for it soon, but he started tanks and Viking production before going for that. He's really making sure he's got plenty of units. He doesn't want to die to any sort of surprise attack. Not now.
No, this is this is for all the beans right now. There's several $1,000s on the line here for iaguz or Seither.
I'd love to see Seither do a bit more harass, but once again, he's just keeping his first Raven at home. And I don't know, I wonder about this. It's just a little bit odd. I think he knows it's an expansion build. He's seen it, but just being a little bit worried about the potential for a Cyclone drop.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a very, very strong move on this, on any map really. Just the 2 Cyclones inside of a medevac, very, very high harassment potential because it's not like you have Stim to chase it down. You have to rely on a Viking and your own Ravens.
And of course, Ravens are popping out now for iaguz. We've got Vikings on the way for Seither. He's going to start his own siege tank production. iaguz does have that 3rd command center down, starting to add his 2nd and 3rd barracks. He's getting his way up that production tree, up that economy tree. Ooh. But similar to the last time they played this map, Seither's going to go for a big push. He doesn't have the extra barracks. He doesn't have the 3rd command center. He's not investing in the later game right now. iaguz is. Will that be the difference? Will it give Seither enough of an edge? He's going to need to drop his auto turrets so fast. And remember, guys, the Ravens of iaguz are so late. They don't have as much energy. There's going to be a lot more auto turrets here for Seither. He's going for it. He needs to do big damage right now. Lots of auto turrets go down. Those tanks fell almost instantly, Maynard. This is a massive push for Seither.
It is, and iaguz needs to take this very seriously. His tournament line on the line here. He's pulling the SCVs, but they're getting caught behind the Marines. A landed Viking here to help out. They're doing the extra damage against the armored units. It looks like the Ravens may, in a second, have an extra auto turret, but iaguz is pushing this back, but he took 11 worker kills.
Nice push there from Seither. This is what he needed to do. He says, yeah, you might have a 3rd orbital finishing. My command center is just starting, but I've put the pressure on. I've done damage. I'm bleeding out some of your units. I'm even going to come back in with another push. If he sieges up this tank, this is going to be a great little push here, using these auto turrets to his advantage. And if he can find a few more SCV kills, that's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. He's putting the hurt on this orbital, actually nearly halfway dead.
Wow, Seither here keeping up the aggression. More Vikings, more Marines on the way behind this. iaguz has the fastest stim. He's building more Marines at a time right now, but his economy is starting to take a real hit. He's pulling SCVs into the front. Auto turrets going down for iaguz. He's going to take down the Ravens of Seither, and it looks like he will be able to break this position.
Does finally break it down. Takes a big econ hit there, but iaguz does have 3 CCs complete here, and he can start to catch up on that worker count. He's making 3 at a time, where Seither can only make him 2 at a time. So this will stabilize a bit, but he did take a big bit of damage.
Wow, Seither, okay, getting a little bit ahead of yourself.
Yeah, a little bit bold there, man.
That's the pig push. That's what I do when I've been streaming for like 8 hours, and I start to think anything will work.
Yeah,
one siege tank and 3 Vikings. Don't know if that's a good one.
I avoid streaming for that long because I know exactly how my game's starting. I like to start to get a headache, my eyes get tired, and then I'm like, everything turns to crap.
Yeah, you start to just kind of like watch your own play while you're doing things, and you're like shaking your head at yourself going, what? But of course, he only threw away 1 Viking there. Seither's still in a great position because his 3rd is already up and mining. The big difference here is the barracks timings. His 2nd and 3rd barracks still only just adding their add-ons. His stim's only halfway done. His 111's just starting up now. So while Seither is going to probably overtake iaguz overall in terms of infrastructure, economy, production, he doesn't really have a window to keep this aggression going. It's not like this is going to be followed up by a very quick drop or anything like that.
There's a very big army supply advantage for iaguz right now, and a lot of Seither's army supply is actually in Vikings. There's like 4 of them, I think.
Yeah, that's actually quite frightening. Stim's ready. He can just kill these Vikings. Very nice. 1 Viking goes down. Does almost. Yeah, he's going to get the 2nd Viking as well. And there's a sensor tower up here for Seither. And this is kind of important, right? Seither needs to be like, you can't drop here, because he actually doesn't have anything, right?
Yeah.
What's his unit count? How many Marines and tanks do we have for Seither right now? It's something like, I think, 4 tanks and 7 Marines. So he has no mobility. So if iaguz is able to get drops in these bases, then Seither's going to be really struggling to respond to those.
Cutting into that Marine count already is iaguz. He's got 23 Marines. It's a 9 of Seither. It's pretty insane. and he's starting to consolidate his forces at his third base. Of course, Seither had his built-on location, so a little bit of advantage for him, and his work account's getting into the 60s, which is a lovely little spot there for a Terran.
Seither really needs another minute before he can catch up and start contesting the map. His stim's now finished, but he needs his combat shields, he needs his 1-1, and most importantly, he just needs more time to get some actual Marines out of these barracks. He delayed his infrastructure by so damn long to get this to happen. And oh no, there's no way he's ready for this. He doesn't have the defense ready, Maynard!
Seither! The main is open and the siege tanks are getting up and there's siege now. This is terrible for Seither. He doesn't have any units.
iaguz just with a brutal, decisive push here. He saw the sensor tower and he said, you know what? That's the last place you think I'm going to drop. He jumped straight in there. He's got the control over the top of the ramp. All of Seither's medevacs just fly into their death. The Vikings of Seither go down as well. Seither's trying to ferry some tanks up into the back of his main. He needs to keep this production alive, but iaguz's push is already paying off. 2 barracks going down, SCVs going down. This is an incredible push from iaguz.
Yeah, 2 of the barracks have died here, and now the factory's being sieged on. The only factory here for Seither, and he's pulling everything for a big concave. iaguz trying to delay and to trade as well as possible. He's killed a lot of SCVs already, and Seither will clean this up and recover from here on. But again, huge army supply advantage for iaguz.
Massive, massive gains there for him. iaguz's other army already up towards the third base, getting into position. These sensor towers of Seither almost tipped his hand. I feel like iaguz saw those and said, whoa, why have you got those up so early?
I would actually go back into the main. For sure. Like, I would drop the main again right now.
I think he might with his next wave of reinforcements for now, just poking around here. And yes, he's coming back in with a drop in the main, but oh, nice siege tank there from Seither. Will hang on for the moment, but good positioning here from iaguz. Just continuing to find little edges. iaguz is still way up in supply right now. That orbital command center, that third is just so exposed.
That's right. The third actually has been forced to lift here. Seither trying to break this position of iaguz. Meanwhile, the third of iaguz is pretty safe right now. He's mining. He's got a pretty big income advantage.
He's got a second factory on the way, 2-1 as well. iaguz here, he wants to make the frontal push work. He knows he's got the numbers. He's just going to keep on bullying his way forward here. Seither, he can't break this position right now. He's in so much trouble.
He got rid of the siege tanks here of iaguz. The orbital is very, very low. Raven actually still alive at the top here, just in case. Oh man, iaguz is just continuing to drop here. He can actually kill the siege tank, forcing Seither to break up some of the very small army that he has to try and deal with this. Meanwhile, the third is open again. The orbital being targeted down.
Oh, massive damage here for iaguz. Is he going to get the orbital to repair? He's good.
No, not quite.
Seither manages to save it, but he's losing mining time. He's losing workers. He's losing siege tanks. Meanwhile, iaguz's upgrades are getting further ahead. His economy is going untouched. He's dropping a 4th command center at home. And Seither here, he can't even land his 3rd command center. iaguz showing his class right now.
Seither coming in with a big concave of Marines. The tanks helping up on the ground. They are unsieged, doing a fair bit of DPS. He does clean up iaguz's position, but he's loading up. And he's going to go for the main again. No, the sensor tower is complete here. Yeah, it's very, very risky though.
Yeah, it's the only thing he's doing right now, so it is a little bit dicey. He's going to have to just take up the tank and then probably pick up and leave after that. He's going to try and kill that. Lots of Marines popping out here for Seither, and Seither actually is going to take down this drop. Just barely has the numbers to do so. iaguz there, a little bit wasteful with that one. But Seither, he's somehow maintained the equivalent worker count. I do not know how Seither has actually kept 56 workers alive during all this. It is incredible that he is only down about 5 army supply, about 1 overall supply right now. But the upgrades tell another story. The 4th command center on the way, the 2nd factory down, 3-2 upgrades starting. All of this tells a story.
Third very naked here for iaguz, and now Seither giving him a taste of his medicine, forcing the orbital to lift up here, and iaguz coming in for the reinforcement from the top. He is going to clean this up, but in the meantime, delaying some mining time. Does he get the medevac?
Ooh, good job keeping that alive from Seither there. And Seither's actually up in supply right now. I don't know how long that's going to last for. The upgrades for iaguz still clawing their way ahead, but it just is a testament to Seither's ability to macro in the middle of the chaos, to keep on spending his money, to keep on doing what he needs to. Unfortunately, no armory. The armory only just starting now for Seither, and that's a big problem. Oh,
yeah. When your armory's just started and the other guy's getting 3-2, feels bad, man. It's a pretty big upgrade advantage for iaguz as the game goes forward. He's looking for another shot at this third, but it's a very, very tough position to break.
That Raven is up 17 kills. Wow. Oh my gosh.
And there's a massive worker advantage. Well, not a massive worker advantage, but a 6 worker advantage for Seither. But it's at an oversaturated base.
Yeah.
There's no 4th here for Seither.
It's not really worth anything right now. You're spot on, Maynard. And this drop coming back in for Seither on the third of iaguz. Does try to find a siege tank, but iaguz is on top of that, and I think that drop might even go down as its boost does run out. But hey, another drop joins up with it. And looks like Seither going to try and kill a couple of workers here, but siege tank does start to shut that down. Loses one of the drops. The other drop going to fly into this bigger army. Will inadvertently spot the Doom drop, which is kind of nice.
Actually could drop under this medevac because that's out of boost energy.
Yep.
Wow. Nice pick off there for iaguz.
Seither here just turtled up on 3 bases, desperately trying to defend. Needs to start that 2-2 upgrades. Needs to get a 4th base, but how? How can he possibly do that when iaguz is constantly hitting him? He's pushing in here with an elevator into that main base. It's not even a Doom drop, it's just a slow elevator, but what can Seither do to stop it?
And iaguz can actually afford to split these armies as well. He's got more of it back at home. At the 4th base, is actually rallying across the map here.
Ooh, nice siege tank shots here from Seither.
Yeah, doing a bit of damage. The medevac's loading up. Pulling back here, but it doesn't look like there's Vikings here for Seither, no Vikings for iaguz, which means that this medevac can actually sit here. It's very, very safe.
Great counter drop there from Seither, trying to take out a siege tank. Does manage to get it for a few Marines. Not a bad trade, but Seither needs better than not bad trades. He needs freaking great trades right now.
Siege tanks being reinforced here from iaguz. Got 2 in that medevac there. They're going to siege up right at the side of the map here. That's such a hard position to dig him out of. As Seither, who's just starting +2 attack right now, he still has +1 armor.
Seither now supply blocked, losing lots of depots behind that main base. This is a real pain. He's trying to counterattack, trying to find an angle, but iaguz has locked up the ship. Everything is tight.
iaguz actually could catch a lot of these Marines. Conversely, he could also lose his medevacs.
Ooh, Seither didn't watch that. He's a little bit slower on the stem, has less Marines. iaguz gets on top of it, pushes forward with this army while hitting the back of the natural. Gets another 6 SCVs, and he's maintaining the position in the main. iaguz is an anaconda right now, and he is just choking his victim, is slowly running out of breath. Seither just has no room to move. He's being constricted with every single push of iaguz.
Seither's making a purple square. Will this be the answer here against iaguz?
Well, you know, you can produce as many purple squares as you want. I don't know if it's going to help right now, Maynard. Because I even Seither's doing so many cute moves. Like, keeps trying to find those free siege tanks.
I think they're on the same hotkey group or in the same control group. Oh, man. Bit of an uncharacteristic mix control there from Seither. This Raven is still alive!
Oh my god, the Raven of Death. 19 kills. It's going to drop another auto turret, but no, Marines will deflect it for now. Wouldn't be surprised if iaguz came back, dropped a few more auto turrets in a moment.
Orbital kill here. No 4th base for you, Seither. And Seither is just going from strength to strength here for iaguz, and Seither is just bled dry slowly over time here in this TvT.
This is the map where we normally see players go for one big surprise attack and either knock their opponent out or it fails, but iaguz is just showing us flawless macro. Vikings come in, he sees it's only tanks, he's going to drop right on top of them. Great moves from iaguz here, just takes out a few of the siege tanks, doesn't let any of those escape, he's controlling the ramp, the tanks are going to try to siege, he's going to get a few big shots off. And even though Seither will defend that, yet again, more losses which he cannot afford. And the soup does not lie, Maynard.
That's right. There is a 70 army supply advantage here for iaguz. Pretty insane. And that number is going up as time goes forward. Now it's a 90 army supply advantage for iaguz. Making tanks 2 at a time. He has double factory. He has all of his production still unadulterated here. Seither hasn't managed to do any damage to iaguz for a very, very long time here. He's just now having to tap out, and iaguz will be the champion of WCS ANZ Challenger for Season 2. So there you go. Both of those two players, incredibly good Terrans. They're going to do great in Jönköping. We're very excited to see how they do over there. But against each other, iaguz winning the day there. Really, he's leveled up hugely as a player, especially in this matchup. I had no idea iaguz was that good at TvT.
He brought the heat today. He really did in all the matchups, but especially here in this TvT. It was just incredible to watch that. And I just love that Raven of Death. It was up to 29 kills at the end of that. That's one of those things where you're just like, oh, that Raven was so good. But iaguz, throughout this series, he played very patiently, very smartly. There was the one blunder. That was the only series he lost in this grand finals when he moved into the middle of the map. And he was like, you know what? I moved out, I lost my army, it was a bit unfortunate. The next game, bam, just clean, flawless play. The game after that, clean, flawless play. It was fantastic, so impressive.
What a beautiful series to end such a beautiful weekend for a beautiful tournament. I am so happy that we got an opportunity to cast this, feeling very blessed. And it's good to have you here, Pig. Shout out to Seth as well, and Insano, and all the guys at ESL Australia production for doing a great job here. at the ESL Studios in Sydney. Man, massive congratulations one more time to iaguz and to our 2 qualified players, Seither and iaguz, going over to Jönköping at the end of June, or in the middle of June, to see how much damage they can get done in Sweden for Australia. Hopefully it's a little bit more than in Austin.
I really hope so. I mean, Probe did a good job in Austin. He had a great run. Unfortunately, to get cut short by Cham. iaguz unfortunately fell to the Chinese Zerg players. I believe it was Tudming who took him out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, iaguz and Seither are going to have a big chance, and I really want to see Seither on that world stage. He's a guy I've been excited for. You know, I fanboy a little bit when I see Seither on point, because it's so rare to see a foreign Terran player play this aggressive multitasking style so clean. You know, it's the same thing when you see
Gumiho or something like that.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you see Uthermal, you know, when he's on point, and you just get this like feeling of like, wow, that's so cool. It's so impressive to watch.
And I am a pretty huge Uthermal fanboy, I will admit that right now. Guys, that is going to be it for the show this weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I don't have any idea how you wouldn't have if you were watching the games. That was a real pleasure. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you again next season here at ESL Studios in Australia for the next season of Challenger. But for now, wish the boys good luck as they head to Jönköping, and we'll see you over there. Take it easy. Good night.